"You're not walking away," Marcus said. "You're walking back." It was already past midnight when Daniel realized he would not sleep. The room was dark, except for the thin orange line of streetlight leaking through the curtains. The city outside was quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that made thoughts sound louder than they should. He lay on his back, staring at the ceiling, listening to his own breathing, slow and careful, as if even that might give him away. "You're safe," he whispered to himself. No one answered. Earlier that evening, he had told himself the same thing. He had repeated it while washing his hands, while locking the door, while sitting on the edge of the bed. Safe. Free. Untouched. But now, in the dark, the word felt empty. The knock on the door had not come. The phone had not rung. And yet, something had already begun. 3 weeks earlier, Daniel had been standing in line at the bank, holding a folder that felt heavier than paper should. Inside were notices, warnings, final statements. He had stopped opening them days ago, but he knew what they said. Rent overdue. Credit exhausted. Deadlines passed. Next, the clerk said without looking at him. He stepped forward, placed the folder on the counter, and waited. "I need an extension," he said. The clerk finally raised her eyes. "You've already had 2. "I know. I just need time." She shook her head slowly, not unkindly, but firmly. "There's nothing I can do." He wanted to argue. He wanted to explain. Instead, he nodded, gathered the folder, and walked out into the cold. That was the moment something shifted. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. Just a quiet, internal adjustment, like a lock turning. That night, he met Marcus. They sat across from each other in a small cafe near the station. Marcus was calm, confident, dressed too well for the place. "You look exhausted," Marcus said. "I am." Marcus leaned back. "I heard about your situation." Daniel laughed softly. "Everyone has." "There's a way out," Marcus said. Daniel looked up. "There always is. This one's fast." Silence stretched between them. "What do you want me to do?" Daniel asked. Marcus didn't answer immediately. He stirred his coffee, watching the liquid spin. "Nothing violent," he said at last. "No one gets hurt." Daniel felt a strange relief at those words. "It's just paperwork," Marcus continued. "Access. Timing. You're good with details. You always were." Daniel hesitated. "And after?" "After, you're free." Free. The word landed perfectly. The crime itself took less than 10 minutes. No alarms. No raised voices. Just keys, codes, and a door that opened exactly when it was supposed to. Daniel remembered noticing how ordinary everything felt. How clean. How quiet. "Now," Marcus whispered. Daniel nodded and did what he had already rehearsed 100 times in his head. When it was over, Marcus smiled. "See? Easy." Daniel didn't smile back. The first night after, Daniel slept for 2 hours. The second night, he slept for 1. By the third, sleep refused to come at all. He would close his eyes and see the door again. Hear the soft click. Feel the moment when choice turned into action. "It's done," he told himself. "You can't undo it." But his mind didn't want undoing. It wanted answers. A week later, he ran into Clara. "You've changed," she said immediately. "What do you mean?" "You're distant." "I'm just tired." She stuttered him. Tired people still blink. He forced a smile. "You're imagining things." "Am I?" she asked quietly. They sat in silence. Finally, she spoke again. "Did you do something?" Daniel felt his chest tighten. "Why would you ask that?" "Because you're not present," she said. "It's like you're always listening to someone else." He looked away. "I'm fine." She didn't argue. That hurt more than if she had. The investigation began quietly. An article. A rumor. A name mentioned too casually. Daniel read everything. Watched everyone. Every sound became suspicious. When the police finally came, it wasn't dramatic. They knocked. Daniel opened the door. "Daniel Harris?" The officer asked. "Yes. We need to ask you a few questions." At the station, the room was bright and empty. "Do you know why you're here?" The detective asked. Daniel swallowed. I can guess. Then start talking. For the first time, Daniel said nothing. Prison was colder than he expected. The days were structured. Predictable. Almost comforting in their cruelty. You'll get used to it, his cellmate said. Or you won't. Either way, time passes. At night, Daniel lay awake, staring at a different ceiling now, listening to different sounds. Was it worth it? He asked himself. The answer didn't come. Years later, when he walked free again, the city felt unfamiliar. Clara didn't come. Marcus was nowhere to be found. Daniel stood alone on the sidewalk, holding a small bag, feeling lighter and heavier at the same time. A passerby brushed his shoulder and muttered, "Watch it." Daniel stopped. "I'm sorry," he said. The man barely noticed. Daniel stood there for a long moment, then continued walking. Not free. Not condemned. Just aware. And that awareness followed him. Into every decision. Every hesitation. Every choice that came after. Because the crime had ended long ago. But the punishment had learned how to walk beside him. Daniel rented a small room on the edge of the city. One window, one bed, a table with a wobbling leg. The kind of place where no one asked questions, and no one remembered faces. That suited him. The first morning, he woke before the alarm. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Then memory settled in, heavy and familiar. He sat up slowly. So this is it, he said out loud. The room didn't respond. He found work unloading boxes at a warehouse. The supervisor barely looked at his papers. You work, you get paid, the man said. That's it. Daniel nodded. That's enough. The days were simple. Lift. Carry. Stack. Repeat. His body ached, but his mind was quiet in a way it hadn't been for years. No decisions. No shortcuts. Just weight and movement. During breaks, the others talked. Where you from? One asked. Here, Daniel said. Family. Not really. The man shrugged. Lucky. Daniel wasn't sure that was true. One evening, as he was leaving the warehouse, a voice stopped him. Daniel? He turned. It was Clara. She looked older. Thinner. But her eyes were the same, observant, careful. I thought it was you, she said. I didn't think you'd still be here. I wasn't, she replied. I came back. They stood facing each other, neither smiling. How long are you out? She asked. 6 months. She nodded slowly. I heard. Silence settled between them again, like it always did. Do you want coffee? She asked. Daniel hesitated. I don't know if that's a good idea. She met his eyes. It never is. The cafe was louder than he remembered. Cups clinked. Someone laughed too hard. So, Clara said, wrapping her hands around her mug. Are you okay? Daniel considered lying. The habit was still there. I'm functioning, he said instead. That's not an answer. It's the best one I have. She stuttered him. Do you regret it? Yes. The word came faster than he expected. She blinked. That's it. Just yes? There's nothing after it, he said. No explanation that makes it smaller. Clara looked down. I waited for you to say that before. I know. Why didn't you? Because then it would have been real. She nodded. And now? Now it already is. A week later, Daniel received a message he didn't expect. Marcus. Heard you're out. We should talk. Daniel stared at the screen for a long time. No, he said aloud, then deleted the message. The next day, Marcus was waiting outside the warehouse. Still predictable, Marcus said with a smile. Daniel stopped walking. You shouldn't be here. Marcus laughed. Relax. I'm clean. Different business now. I don't care. Marcus stepped closer. You owe me. Daniel's hands clenched. I paid. You paid time. I paid silence. That was your choice. Marcus' smile faded. Careful. You're not untouchable anymore. Daniel met his gaze. Neither are you. For a moment, Marcus looked uncertain. Then he scoffed. You've changed. Yes, Daniel said. That's the point. He walked away. This time, Marcus didn't follow. That night, Daniel slept. Not deeply. Not peacefully. But enough. In the morning, he woke with a decision already formed. He went to the community center 2 blocks from his room. A sign on the door read, "Volunteers needed." Inside, a woman looked up from a desk. "Can I help you?" "I think so," Daniel said. "I don't know how to explain this, but I need to do something useful." She smiled faintly. "Join the club." He filled out the form slowly, carefully. When he reached the final question, "Why do you want to volunteer?" he stopped. After a moment, he wrote, "Because I know what happens when people stop caring about consequences." The woman read it, then nodded. "You can start tomorrow." Weeks passed. Daniel worked. Volunteered. Slept. Sometimes, the past returned suddenly. A sound, a smell, a familiar phrase. He didn't fight it. He let it pass. One evening, Clara walked beside him. "You're different," she said again. "I hope so." "Do you think you're forgiven?" she asked. He shook his head. "That's not up to me." She smiled sadly. "Then why keep trying?" Daniel thought for a moment. Because stopping would mean pretending nothing happened. She nodded. And that would be another crime. He looked at her. Yes. They walked on. The city moved around them, unaware, indifferent, alive. And Daniel understood something clearly now. Punishment hadn't ended when the door opened. It hadn't ended with time served. It ended every day he chose not to repeat the same man. And that choice, quiet, unseen, uncelebrated, was the heaviest responsibility of all. Marcus didn't disappear. For a few days, Daniel thought he had. No messages. No shadow across the street. No familiar figure near the warehouse. The silence felt earned. Then the lock on Daniel's door was scratched. Not broken. Scratched. Someone had tested it. Daniel stood in the narrow hallway, staring at the metal marks, his pulse steady but heavy. He didn't need to guess who it was. Marcus never rushed. Marcus circled. That evening, Daniel skipped the community center and took a longer route home. Halfway down the block, a voice called his name. "Still running routes like a prisoner," Marcus said. Daniel stopped but didn't turn around. "You're following me." "Watching," Marcus corrected. Big difference. Daniel faced him. "What do you want?" Marcus stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I want balance." "I told you. We're done." Marcus smiled. "You don't get to decide that alone." 2 nights later, Clara called. "Someone was asking about you," she said. Daniel closed his eyes. What kind of someone? Polite. Too polite. He knew things he shouldn't. "Marcus, what did you say?" Daniel asked. "That I don't know you," she replied, which felt like lying and telling the truth at the same time. "I'm sorry," Daniel said. There was a pause. "Is this going to follow you forever?" "I don't know," he admitted. "But I won't let it touch you." "Be careful," Clara said. "Men like that don't need much." "I know," Daniel replied. "I used to listen to him." The confrontation came without warning. Daniel was leaving the warehouse when Marcus stepped out from between 2 trucks. "You blocked me," Marcus said. "That's rude." Daniel didn't slow down. "This ends now." Marcus grabbed his arm. The contact was brief, but electric. Daniel stopped. "You don't touch me," he said quietly. Marcus laughed. "You think you're different now? You think a few good deeds changed what you are?" Daniel turned slowly. "No. They remind me." "Of what?" "Of what I lose if I listen to you again." Marcus' smile vanished. "You're not walking away," Marcus said. "You're walking back. Or I talk." Daniel met his eyes. "To who?" Marcus leaned in. "To anyone who wants to hear how cooperative you were. How creative." Daniel felt the old instinct rise, the urge to calculate, to negotiate, to bend. He let it pass. "Do it," Daniel said. Marcus froze. "What?" "Talk," Daniel continued. "Say my name again. Because if you do, I don't protect you anymore." Marcus stuttered him. "Protect me from what?" "From the truth," Daniel replied. From everything you hid behind me. For the first time, Marcus looked uncertain. The next day, Daniel went to the police station. The officer at the desk looked up. "Can I help you?" "Yes," Daniel said. "I want to report someone." "Is this about a new crime?" Daniel paused. "No. It's about an old one that hasn't finished yet." They took his statement. Names, dates, details. Each word felt like cutting a wire. Marcus came that night. He pounded on the door. "You crossed a line." Marcus shouted. Daniel opened it. "So did you," Daniel said. Marcus' face was red, furious. "You think they'll believe you? You think you walk away clean?" "I don't need clean," Daniel replied. "I need done." Marcus stepped back slowly. "You're making a mistake." Daniel nodded. "I know. I've made worse." Sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Marcus looked past Daniel, then back at him. "You were supposed to be smart," he said. "I am," Daniel answered. "That's why I stopped." Marcus turned and ran. This time, Daniel didn't watch him go. He closed the door. The arrest happened quietly. No chase. No shouting. Marcus was taken in 2 days later, early in the morning. Daniel didn't see it, but he heard about it from the warehouse supervisor, who mentioned it the way people mention the weather. "Some guy picked up near the station," he said. "Fraud. Extortion. Old stuff catching up." Daniel nodded and went back to work. His hand shook only once. The interview came a week later. Daniel sat across from the same detective as before. The man looked older. Tired. "You didn't have to come in," the detective said. "I know. Why did you?" Daniel thought for a moment. Because silence was starting to feel like cooperation again. The detective stuttered him. "You understand this could reopen things?" "Yes." "Then you understand the risk." "I do." The detective closed the file. "People don't usually choose this." Daniel gave a small, humorless smile. "I've noticed." Clara met him outside. "You're pale," she said. "I'm done," he replied. She searched his face. "Done how?" "With hiding." They stood there, the city moving around them. "I don't know what this makes you," Clara said. Daniel looked at the street. "Neither do I." She nodded. "That might be the most honest answer you've ever given." Time passed. The warehouse replaced him with someone younger, faster. The community center didn't. Daniel stayed. He fixed shelves. He sorted donations. He listened more than he spoke. One evening, a teenage boy sat across from him, restless, angry. "They don't care what happens to us," the boy said. "So why should I care what happens to them?" Daniel felt the old words, familiar and dangerous. He chose different ones. "Because the moment you stop caring," Daniel said slowly, "you become easy to use." The boy frowned. Used by who? By anyone who promises you a shortcut. Months later, Daniel walked past the station where everything had begun. The cafe was still there. Different faces. Same tables. He stood outside, then kept walking. Some places no longer needed revisiting. On a quiet evening, Daniel sat on the steps outside his building. Clara joined him. "Do you ever think about leaving?" she asked. "Sometimes." "Why don't you?" He considered the question carefully. "Because running feels too much like before." She smiled. "So this is staying?" "This is choosing where I stand," he said. They watched the lights come on across the city. Marcus was sentenced the following year. Daniel didn't attend. He didn't need to. The story had stopped belonging to him. One morning, Daniel woke up without that familiar weight in his chest. He noticed it immediately, the absence. It didn't mean he was forgiven. It didn't mean the past was gone. It meant the punishment had changed. It was no longer a shadow behind him. It was a line in front of him. And every day, without witnesses or applause, Daniel chose not to cross it. That was the end of the crime. And the beginning of a life lived carefully, deliberately, and awake that was the end of the story. Stay with me until we meet again.